Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Arrowhead Junction, a City Skylines collaboration project between Fresh Popcorn, Flux Trends, and yours truly, Strict Toaster. Man, it's been quite a while since I last recorded a video on this project. Last thing I did was the rail yard, and that was like over 2 months ago. We're no longer that far ahead. I'm actually recording this episode just a few days before Fresh Popcorn's latest video comes out. So. That means two things. It's kind of scary for us creating content because we don't have that much wiggle room in terms of scheduling. But on the bright side, we can pretty much apply all the feedback that you guys are giving us, on time, and you don't have to like wait weeks for it. Even though we're going to try to keep up again or return to our original schedule. But in the meantime, I guess we're pretty much current. And in this episode, we're going to be doing quite a few things. We're going to stay away a little bit from the rail yard. We're going to be focusing mostly on Arrowhead Village and the immediate surroundings of it, because there's some expansion and some decoration activities that need to take place there. But before I do any of that, I just want to go over to the little outpost that Fresh Popcorn did in his previous episode. And there's something that needs to be fixed here. So I haven't watched this episode yet because he hasn't come out, but this little police station, I'm guessing he used to move it, and clearly it's missing a road connection. So what I'm going to do is actually drag a road segment, maybe from here to here. I'm going to turn on anarchy. There we go. And the cool thing about this is that it gives you that little, like the little ramp with the little curb on the side, which looks great, and even on both sides. And this like patch of like different asphalt color also lovely. So I think this is a perfect solution. And obviously we get rid of the no road connection issue that was taking place here. And then another problem that I see, which is this thing that's super weird. I don't know what tree this is, but it appears to be in in LOD mode. Like I can turn on all the LODs, but no, it doesn't seem to be reset. So for the timing, I'm gonna get rid of it because it looks really weird. In fact, is the same tree anywhere else? It seems like it's only happening on this spot, so I'm not sure what that is. But another problem that this town has is lack of fire coverage. So I'm just gonna plop this one down here, and obviously just move it ever so slightly, right about there. I think it's okay. In fact, let's check. I'm gonna get rid of some of these fences and I guess some of those bushes as well, because they're like kind of in the middle. Trying to get rid of everything. Man, this is tricky. This is some tricky details that oops. Okay, I did not want to do that. However, what I'm gonna do is grab this and copy it and just put it there. And now this car is like safely protected. What I'm gonna do next is maybe grab the cement. You know what? Let's just integrate this whole thing. Why not? So since there are no doors in the back of the fire station, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go gate like this, and oh, this is actually perfect. So we're gonna close in this car. This will be the entrance to this back lot thing for like the firefighters, and this will be the exit out of the car wash, which would be absolutely perfect. I'm not gonna put any road markings or anything. I mean, this is like pretty rough around the edges kind of area. Let's also like do something like this. So there's like a path going in into the gas station and out, but there's also like a patch of dirt here. And what I want to do is just add a few more trees and plants and whatnot. So I'm gonna keep this tree here. Cool. I mean, that's it. I don't want to go crazy with this. This back part of the fire station could serve as an exit, and I guess also the entry point for this parking lot. That's it. Super simple. All right, let's move on to the next thing. My next order of business is related to this underpass that we have here for the train tracks. It's been pointed out by many of you in previous videos that usually trains are, stay on level, while what changes grading is actually the freeway. So I'm going to do a little bit of refactoring here. In fact, let's pause the game first to get rid of all of this. What I want to do is do straight slope. That way I can get a perfect slope up, and I don't have to use move it to make it all good. I think this height is probably enough. Let's actually double check that real quick because I'm not entirely sure that is the case here. So let's go like this. Take a look here. Yeah, that's plenty tall. I like it. All right. In fact, this is good as it is, but I didn't measure it, so let's try that again. Now, this is the issue here. So for some reason, if I go 20 here, it will just sit in the middle of the train tracks. So we either need to. Oh, you know what? I have a better idea because I'm actually looking at a reference photo here from the I-15 freeway in Southern California, the one that goes from LA to Las Vegas. And there's an overpass. Oh, you know what? This is actually going to be much better. All right, so let's get rid of this. And what we're going to do instead is make a tunnel. I know Fresh Popcorn hates tunnels, but I think this one's going to look good. So this is what we're going to do. We're just going to do this. So now we created a tunnel right there. In fact, let's just go one more unit over there and just ever so slightly. All right, perfect. So now we have this base. This is exactly how this reference tunnel that I'm looking at on my second screen looks like. And let's just go like this. Let's try, let's say, I don't know, 12 meters. Let's do 12 meters. I think that's the height of the actual tunnel. So we can do something like this. Continue straight. And that is tight. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. We're going to use move it to like move the tunnel slightly away from the hill so it's not, so right up against it. And what does this look like if we change it to freeway? All right. Yeah, this is absolutely perfect. I absolutely love this. And like that. Perfect. All right, so we have this nice hill. We're going to do some terraforming. Don't worry about it. It's not going to look super fake like it currently does. But it's just going to be awesome. So let's complete the rest of the construction here. So we're going to grab this bad boy and this bad boy. Let's see how it actually looks when I do some like terraforming here. So let's increase this a little bit, actually a little bit more than that, and just create some sort of like hill here. So I went a little bit crazy with the terraforming here and the details, and I just added rocks and everything else, just little clusters of trees. And I think this looks much nicer. It definitely adds a lot of detail to the map in general, and it also matches sort of the terraforming that we have going on underneath this overpass, as well as this one on this side. Even the ones here and in Zamora, they all are to some level terraformed. And look at the details that I added. I added these traffic barrels here together with the guard rails. Let me just zoom in so you can see. And the Jersey barriers in the middle. Hopefully this would prevent cars from jumping into the tunnel, or right here on this side towards that ditch, I guess. And finally, before we jump into a time lapse, there's one thing that I want to show you. Something that was created by one of the viewers, and I just had to like put it somewhere in Arrowhead because it's so appropriate. Let me just turn this camera around real quick. This is our billboard. Each side of this billboard has our logos, and this was created by Lost Gecko, and I'm going to include the link in the description if you want to get it, but like let me just show it to you in detail because it's so epic. So you have the keep it fresh with fresh popcorn made in San Bernardo. He even like made the typography look the same. That's awesome. On this side you have strict design and engineering, quality rhymes with OCD, which is also pretty funny. And he put some screenshots from Cedar Valley. That's amazing. And then this one I gotta say, this one is my favorite. Flux Beachside Resort, Sea, Sun, and Hot Tubs with Rocks. If you don't get this joke, you haven't been watching Flux's videos enough. So you should go watch some Rhinestone and even some Arrowhead episodes after you watch this one. But I don't know. I thought this was a perfectly appropriate spot to put it because I mean, given this curve right here, if you're coming down from the freeway, let me just show you real quick. If you're coming out this way, you can see Fresh's logo there. If you're coming from this side, or also on this national road, you see Flux's. And then if you're coming from Arrowhead Village, you just see mine. It's great. I love it. And it works great at night as well. Let me just show you real quick because it's all lit up on each side. It's just super, super nice. Thank you so much, Lost Gecko. This made my day, and I think it totally fits this amazing interchange. But also, now that we're here, I just want to talk a little bit about what we're gonna do in just a second. In the time lapse, we're gonna be working on an RV resort that will hopefully take up most of this space. And it will be one of the main things that will start, making Arrowhead Village a proper city in terms of, expansion and development. So let's just get right to it. And we're starting things off by pretty much clearing up this whole area and preparing the, just the land around it and the elements around it to fit this construction, this RV resort that I'm tackling here. One of the first things that you notice that I'm doing here is changing the orientation of most of these roads. Not everything, but just a few of them, because I want these to be aligned from vertically and horizontally matching the edges of the map, which is like the base grid where like all the texture, for example, that concrete texture that we use that has like the little lines in between, we're using, that's a line north to south, and I was trying to get this RV resort to be aligned to that as well. Later on during this time lapse, we're going to be tackling a massive project that's going to pretty much spread throughout the entire map. It's kind of insane. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that in a moment, but it will make sense why I'm doing this. I'm realigning all these elements, and also this freeway segment. The fact that it was just a few degrees off from like the construction of this RV park, as you can see, I'm like realigning even the entrance road. It's that's the reason why I did that, or you'll see the reason why. I thought it didn't look great, just being off by a few degrees, and also like the gap between the different lanes was a little bit off, so I took the opportunity to fix that as well, because of OCD and things. But what I'm doing here is just creating a base layout for this RV resort. An RV resort, as far as I know, or from what I can tell, it's like an RV park, but it has a few more facilities, like hotel-like facilities. So I'm actually basing, as I was building this, I had a Google Maps view open on my second monitor, and I was looking to sort of mimic the design from an RV resort that's in Yuma, Arizona, which is actually right on the border between Mexico and the U.S. And this was perfect because it's sitting right between the Colorado River and a freeway. So I figured, hey, this is actually perfect for this. So what I'm working on here in particular is I'm creating sort of the entrance to the main building. Like pretty much this whole RV resort is going to be like plots, so you can like leave your RV there, or your tent or whatever, and your cars. And then all of the facilities where the swimming pool is, and like we're gonna put some basketball courts and everything like that. It's gonna be sitting right here in the middle. And obviously, this is not like a fancy hotel or anything like that, so I end up choosing the motel asset, which I don't think we used yet. But I thought it was like very fitting to the type of construction that I was working on here. So just went ahead with it. I thought it was great. In fact, all the landscaping that we're going to be doing around this, it looks nice, but it's not like perfectly manicured gardens or things like that. It's just like rows of trees separating the different plots, and that's pretty much it. So as you can see, I'm just going crazy here with the details, adding all these chairs. I tried to like build a couple like fire pits here, which I thought came out really, really nice. And then I had a little spot there for a playground. I don't know if I'm gonna do it right after here, or if I think first. Yeah, there you go. That's the fire pit. What I was saying is first I put a fence around this whole area because there isn't like a gated entrance or anything. You just like drive into the place, so everything is open. But this main building, I wanted to keep it sort of secured from the rest. We're only going to have like this wooden fence, nothing too crazy. But here, one change I made is to add that little iron gate. And I added that in various places throughout the perimeter of the fence, and I thought it looked kind of nice. So yeah, I encourage you to try that in your cities. It's a nice way of breaking fences, I realize. And I don't know, looks pretty nice and definitely adds a lot more detail without, going crazy with bushes or anything like that. It's just really, really simple. Just add a gate every once in a while and that makes sense. So over here, just adding a few of these logs to sort of create the one in real life, the one in Yuma that I'm basing this off, actually has a very similar design. The problem is that these logs are way too big in scale. So if you look at it from like first person, they were like way too huge. So I got rid of those and put bollards instead, the wooden ones, which look absolutely great. And just a few palm trees, and I'm guessing in a second I'm just gonna fill it in with bushes and other kinds of foliage as well. So always for good measure. You can never go wrong adding a lot of details like that. And I think it came out great. One thing that I did copy almost to exactly as the one in real life is what I'm about to do now, which it has like an inner lane that I ended up doing it there, but I changed my mind later on. It has like a lane so that if you're driving with your caravan, like you're driving your car with your caravan attached to it or an RV, there's like a waiting area where you can park. So there's a lane that's free for people to do to just drive around, and then there's that this like waiting lane that you would use when you're, I guess, checking in to this RV resort. So that's what I was doing there, and obviously putting the keep clear decal there so that cars wouldn't necessarily park on that spot where they're supposed to be a sort of walkway. And I realized that this was a little bit too tiny here, so I went ahead and extended it a bit further. And that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I do have a list of things that I want to talk about in general. And as I see fit, we'll go back to the time lapse, and I'll tell you what I'm working on exactly. But let's see. All right, so let's talk about the rail yard, because that's a huge project, and all of a sudden I'm not working on it. And I guess maybe I'm due for an explanation about that. We're still working on that very much. I'm gonna need the help from Flux and Fresh most likely, because this is such a big undertaking. But we recently had a call, all three of us, where we outlined what the next couple episodes would be and what we wanted to achieve then. And we decided to prioritize the growth of Arrowhead Village. So this build that I'm doing here, it's part of that. It's just, making the city sort of come together as a whole. And afterwards, you're gonna see, once we're done, and during the cinematics at the end of the episode, you'll see how having this type of build here sort of makes the city much bigger in terms of footprint. By the way, let me make a quick parenthesis here. What I'm doing is I did like a little beach site. The one in Yuma doesn't have this, but I thought it was appropriate here. There's a little boat lunch. I know Fresh and Flux have been doing boat lunches and Rhinestone and San Bernardo respectively. So I figured, hey, it's my turn to do things like the cool kids, and I decided to try building one of them. I think it looks great. The one thing is I was missing some boat assets for this one. I didn't have any, and then honestly, I later forgot to add a few from the workshop. So I was more focused in building this more than anything else. And right here, what I'm doing is I'm just separating these plots using these rocks. And I'm later going to change this because the rocks are again, same problem with logs. They're huge. They're really, really big compared to all the cars that I'm going to be putting next to it. So, and they ended up changing that with wall rocks instead. I think it looks much nicer. You'll see, and I'm sure you'll agree with me when the time comes. But what I was saying before I drifted away in this weird tangent of detail adding, that we're going to prioritize the expansion of Arrowhead Village. So I think in the next episode, Flux is going to be working on an industrial area like that the entire space that's sitting between the rail yard and the city, or the river, I guess in this case, and the whole area surrounding the steam plant that Flux made is going to be industrial areas. And in fact, we're going to be adding probably, I mean, we were discussing this with Flux the other day, maybe even adding some warehouses on the other side of the river where the city is. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see it when the moment comes. We also we change our minds as we do things. So it's not like we plan things and we absolutely carry them, like we said we were going to do this and we're actually sticking to our guns and doing it. We pretty much wing it for the most part. We have a vague idea where we want to go, but we're flexible enough that we can change things as we go. And I mean, usually that's what happens, right? I mean, you build this one thing and now all of a sudden your impression of what the project was changes dramatically just after doing one simple build, and then you adjust yourself to it. Here, adding some lights for good measure. I'm not going to go into detail because it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing. So when it comes to the rail yard, well, I mean, we're definitely going to tackle that. Maybe in the next episode, I'm going to dedicate a good chunk of the episode adding more details if Flux and Fresh haven't done anything on that project. I know they're going to be very busy with Arrowhead Village, but I don't want to leave that hanging, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I definitely want to add a few more details. We're not that far off from completing it, because, I mean, for the most part, it's just like land that doesn't have a whole lot other than just real equipment. In fact, there's been a lot of really good assets that came out after I recorded my last rail yard episode, but I chose to not work on the rail yard for this one, for this episode, simply because I did 2 episodes in a row of that project, and then after that, Fresh Popcorn did the passenger rail yard. So, just to keep things a little bit more interesting, I decided to not work on train stuff for this one, but we'll definitely going to come back to that one as soon as possible. So over here, what you see me doing is, yes, creating a massive grid that pretty much takes up the entire map. Like, we're going to cover the entire map with this grid that runs, again, north to south. And it's 110 units, in each direction. Is a perfect square. And the reason why I chose that is because I went ahead, using Google Maps, I measured like the biggest plots of land in the Southern California area, like where Palmdale is. It's just basically outside of LA, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about. There's this big valley that it has a huge grid. It's all based north to south. So I measured that, and it was like 100 meters, and I did the translation in terms of like game units, and it was 110 units. And that's what I'm doing there. I just pretty much align the entire map towards that, and I think it just added like extra texture to the entire region, which is great. I did keep some of the original grids that we had. You'll see them in a moment, especially around Zamora, because these were like conflicting grids, and I tried to do my best to have them transition gracefully, and I think I did a great job, so you'll see in a moment. But what I'm doing here is like this grid, in my mind, sort of existed for a while. So pioneers, I guess, built this wooden bridge because there's so little population that it's really not worth building a proper concrete bridge or whatever, but it's still good for the people who live there to have that. And since this was such an isolated place, I put that truck in there that's doing some illegal dumping. That's kind of the idea. I actually looked in the workshop for some body bags. This is terrible that I'm talking about this, but I was hoping to find someone, some sort of like body bag or just dead bodies or something like that someone's trying to get rid of in the middle of the desert, which would have been very appropriate. Actually, I think, what was it? One of the GTAs, not the latest one, but the one before, I think in the middle of the desert had some like dead bodies. In fact, I think those were aliens? I don't know. Point is, I don't know, just did put down those trucks over there with the, dumping those barrels, and and I thought it looked great, so I kept them. And here, oh, this is interesting. So the grid pretty much, as it covers the entire map, it also crosses the freeway in many parts. So what I did there is I actually dragged the dirt road pretty much straight through the freeway, like you saw there, but I didn't really connect the nodes so that cars really can't make turns, but the road exists there, and I put some jersey barriers as well as some, you know, some of those traffic barrels, so that technically, you know, cars are not allowed to make right turns or left turns or you know, things like that. And I added that in multiple places, so just so you know, I didn't like get all of the details on camera, but trust me, they're there. And I was using these national roads and basically paved roads as sort of like, you know, limiting the edges where the grids sort of intersect, and that's the way I found was more effective, the most effective, to get the grid to work fine. I was just getting the angle there to see if the height was right, but you'll see in a moment once I zoom out that having that paved road coming all the way from up there, yeah, this time lapse is going all over the place, but yeah, it's you'll see it at the end during the cinematics for sure, but it pretty much defines you know, the edges of this grid, and it just, everything comes together much more nicely. I did have to move roads. Like for example, here we're doing this in Lone. Lone was like in the middle of the grid at a weird kind of angle, but pretty much the entire city of Lone fits in one of these ginormous squares that I was doing. So tweaking a few of the roads was enough for the city to like make sense with this new grid. And by the way, all this entire grid is also, it's perfectly aligned to what Fresh Popcorn did in his previous episode with the oil wells at the top. That's what I was basing the grid off, and it just blends in marvelously. Yeah, that's a good word, I guess. So here, since we had so many different grids going at so many different angles, I wanted to sort of, you know, standardize some of them. So I ended up moving that overpass that goes over the rail yard. And this was quite a bit of work to get it done and try to reuse some of the pieces. Move It was really a savior here. The fact that I was just able to move the train overpass to the side and then put it back again in place and with a completely new bridge was like, yeah, made things way easier. And just over there, accommodating the different pillars. And yeah, now this new bridge pretty much it's aligned to like the right side of Arrowhead Village, which now features this avenue that it's beta amazing. It's can't even talk anymore. It's made of like two roads. These are like the normal one-way roads. It's not like a national road or the freeways. It's just like a normal road with curves and everything else. And so I used that mostly because I wanted cars to drive slowly because it's in an urban area. Pretty much that whole side to the left of the city, or to the left of the screen right now, is going to be zoned. So there's going to be a ton of suburbs there, and it really didn't make sense to have like a semi-freeway thing going on. So I just wanted to have an avenue. And over here, I wanted to create this cool little roundabout that you just get in right as you come out of this overpass, and hopefully can accommodate all the traffic that will happen once Flux starts working on the industrial area, which, I mean, this is pretty much the epicenter of the industrial area. I was just struggling here with the terrain, getting it to look perfect, but it's just, it's so difficult to get the road to actually be perfectly sloping, given the weird angle that I'm using this, but I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I thought it was good enough, and you'll see it again in the cinematics, and actually there's going to be a real-time segment of this video where we actually add the road markings and everything else, so stay tuned for that. You'll actually see how it looks, because right now it's going way too fast to be able to see anything. But yeah, this is the new sort of main artery of Arrowhead Village as we extend the layout outwards. And I think one of the Fresh Popcorn is probably going to be working on some suburbs there, as far as I know, but that could change if when the moment comes, like I just said a moment ago. And this is me replacing all of the rocks with the wall rocks, which, I mean, what a nice asset. So nice. All right, so I also want to take this opportunity to mention, in case you didn't know, that, and this is like me promoting my own content, Cedar Valley is ending, the series is ending, so the last episode will actually happen the day after this video comes out, so stay tuned for episode 48, because it's going to be a very special episode. I'm preparing some really cool things. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about my own shows. If you're interested, make sure to subscribe and you know the drill. So I'm not going to go into detail about that. Let's see, what else is on my list? Oh yeah, so this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So I was experimenting here. I don't know if you noticed, but, and this is something that I mostly see in American, like, I'm going to say parks. I haven't seen this anywhere else, but this is basically what I'm trying to do here is custom parking lots. And I wanted to do this like type of parking lot that's kind of like curved and sort of follows a road, and it's kind of integrated with roads. I do see these a lot in like national parks or state parks. They look really, really nice from above. The one downside here is that the texture, I mean, it should match the texture of the road, right? So in this case, we have like this really dark texture, and obviously the concrete is like way lighter than that. So what you're gonna see me do in just a moment here is changing, obviously, or upgrading the road in the middle to be a concrete road instead of just an asphalt road. And by the way, I mean, between those two cuts that you saw there was like an hour of work trying to get it right. And I came up with that design that I'm really, really happy with. So at the corners of the, outside of the parking lots, you'll see this like narrow road with the curves that kind of has this issue, or it's almost like a bug, where the concrete kind of like fades into the pavement. And I don't know, personally, I think it looks absolutely great. And that was one of the main reasons why I decided to stick with this design, just because of that feature. Again, I don't know if it's a bug and I know many people don't love that, but I do, and I think it's awesome. So what you see me do here is take advantage of some of these squiggly roads that Fresh Popcorn did a while back. This was a semi-unfinished project. I mean, this is pretty much like a nature walk kind of park with nothing in it. It's just like very bare bones type of park. So what I did is just add a simply a lane, a bike lane right next to the main road. In some areas, the bike lane pretty much cuts through. So, to give it a little bit more randomness so that everything wasn't perfect. And I decided to extend this bike lane even behind these houses and connecting it right into the downtown of Arrowhead Village. I did upgrade some of the inner roads too with bike lanes. You won't be able to even see that. I don't know why I'm even talking about this, because it's almost an invisible thing that happened. But just so you know, there's a few other bike lanes in the middle of the city. And that does it for this time lapse. Please do enjoy a few seconds of music, and I'll be back in just a second. And as we leave the time-lapse behind, there's one little thing that I wanted to touch on this episode, on this real-time view of the city, which is related to this tiny roundabout that I did just a few minutes ago. I just want to add a few road markings so that when Flux takes over this whole area of the map is not super barren. And the first thing that I want to do is go find the UK road lines. And what I want to do is actually have like markings that a driver coming down this slope would feel on on the steering wheel and on the pedals of the car, telling them that there's a change in the road condition, in this case a roundabout, so for them to be aware. I don't know exactly the name of this. I've seen them in many places. Usually, like as you approach toll booths, you'll see like these lines that make your car shake a little bit. But I don't know if that makes any sense. If you know what the name of this type of road marking is, please do let me know in the comments. But it goes a little bit like this. So imagine this, and then let's just do a few like, in fact, you know what? Let's just, let's be more mathematical about this. We're going to use a prop line tool, which we'll have to tweak a little bit. So let's turn on anarchy here for a moment. And the orientation is good. So we're just going to do this. And we're going to bring this like that. And we're going to make it, let's actually go 12 meters, sorry, 2 meters. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're going to bring this down by about this much. Maybe by about this much. Great. And now we're going to go do the same over here, but instead of 2 meters, we're going to go 3 meters. Perfect. And then we're going to go by about this much, and we're going to go 4 meters instead. I can't even say the word meters at this point. And just a bit further out, and we're going to do 6 meters. So something like that. As you approach this roundabout, you would start feeling, you know, this lines on your car as you're driving down, and it will start shaking it. And the more it shakes, the more you're supposedly paying attention. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do. I'm going to try to replicate the same thing on the other side. Just give me a second. All right, so this looks good. Even if you look at it from this angle, it's amazing. The slope is, it's a little bit funky, but it's not too bad. In fact, maybe we can, it's not going to be great since this spot here is completely flat. So the more I try to push this up or down, the you know, the harder this will get. But I mean, it looks great. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And on this side, it's definitely shorter. And I added this like dashed lines to transition between the bridge towards this segment of the road. So what I'm going to do next is complete the rest of the road markings that we have some gaps here and there. And it's going to look great. Just give me a second. And this is it. This is what it looks like with all of the road markings in place. There's no gaps anymore. I mean, I could add more road markings on this intersections. I don't think that's necessary. It looks good enough the way it is. I also added some yellow lines here. Let me just show you real quick with the guardrails on each side, just to, like, you know, make sure that people don't drive off into the cliff or they don't drive onto oncoming traffic. That's very important to prevent. And then on the other side, I also put down this billboard, which is kind of funny. And this is actually a great asset. I don't know why we don't use this more throughout the city. I'm probably going to add a few more of these. But I thought this was very fitting to this area. And hopefully this you know, this roundabout can accommodate the volume of traffic that will be generated once Flux starts working on this area. I'm sure it will, and if it doesn't, I guess we'll tweak it. But yeah, that does it for this episode. If you enjoyed, please give this video a like. That's very, very much appreciated. And also, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure to check out the last episode of Cedar Valley tomorrow. That will be episode 48. You really do not want to miss that one. And if you want to catch up on the next episode of Arrowhead Junction, make sure to be subscribed to Flux, youtube.com/FluxTrends. The link will be in the description. The week after that one, it will be on Fresh Popcorn's channel, youtube.com/freshpopcorn. Again, links in the description. And having said all of that, I want to thank you all for watching and hope to see you on the next one.